This module is about interested parties or stakeholders. Let's first look at the project as a black box. What is the project environment doing to the project? What are the stakeholders or the interested parties doing with the project? There are two things, and these two things need to be in balance. There's a balance between demands and support. The environment demands from the project certain results within a certain budget, within a certain time frame. When the project manager and his team is able to do so, he will get support. When there is a balance between demands and support, things will run smoothly for the project. But when there are so much more requirements than support, we can talk about resistance. Now, this balance is influenced by the results that the project team is delivering. The interested parties, they have requirements toward the result of the project, but also to the way that the project manager is managing the project. And these influence the support you get on the project. Sometimes you have forgotten specific stakeholders, specific interested parties. So during the project you need to take them into account also. So this is a closed loop in which the balance and the support, the balance between support and requirement is changing. Whenever it is changing towards something that you don't like, then you need to react on that. You need to take care that there is always more support than that there are requirements. You need to meet expectations. Therefore, when developing your project management plan, you need to decide on an approach, a strategy that will lead finally to satisfaction of the interested parties. There are different groups of stakeholders or interested parties. And this breakdown will help you to identify the ones that are applicable to your project. There are three main groups of interest that we can see. We have the interest of the company, we have the interest of the suppliers, the people that are going to deliver the project, and we've got the interest of the users. Looking at the company interest, mostly these are delegated to a project sponsor or a delegated project sponsor when the project sponsor is a senior manager that is very occupied by a lot of other things. Then you have to do with a delegated project sponsor. The position of the project sponsor within the hierarchical organization gives you an indication how important a top management thinks of your project. Then we have the suppliers. There are internal suppliers and external suppliers. Internal suppliers are line managers that are giving you people, resources for your project, and external suppliers are external consultancy firms or suppliers that are delivering equipment or building things. We also have the users. You can decompose the users in three main groups. We have firstly the end users. These are the people that are going to use the result of the project. Then we've got the maintenance department. Those are the people that have to maintain the project that you have, the result that you have delivered. And there are interest groups. And these are the people that are influenced either direct or indirect by the project result or the way the project is being done. And then we have the public interest groups, Greenpeace or other of these types of organizations that are protecting the common good. And you also need to take in account your own interests, the interest of the project manager, of the sub-project leaders, and of the team members, because they influence the well-being of the project very much. One of the things you need to do is to identify the influence of the interested parties. First, we need to identify what parties there are, what people there are that can influence the project. We draw a stakeholder grid, and in the columns we write down the names of the people that are influencing the project. We need to identify the amount of influence they can have on the project, because their power determines how they are going to help you or how they are going to obstruct you. Therefore, you need to look at the two things of the environment balance. You need to look at the demands they have and the strength they have in forcing you to deliver these requirements. And you need to look at the kind of support they will give you on the project and the support that you need of them. Now let's elaborate a little bit more on the type of support that we want. The project manager, the guy that is responsible for managing the project, he needs or she needs resources. Now here we have an example in these resource breakdown structures of the type of resources that we need. And for these resources, we need from senior management the support. So this stakeholder analysis is about laying the foundation to get the right amount of support for the resources we need to manage and to perform our projects. The first step in finalizing this stakeholder matrix is putting down what you need from them and what they want from you. I need workers in the team, but also we need an office where we can put a team. Also, we need very expensive machinery, and so on. Then we go column by column and we write down the amount of influence they have. When we have a high influence, we put an H or an M for a medium, or a low for no influence at all, or a very low influence. Then we fill this in. If you look at this, you can see where the power people are. We are going to do two analyses, and based on that we analyze their influence and we analyze if there are conflicting interests. First we have the horizontal analysis. When you look at the horizontal analysis, you can see that something interesting is happening at the machinery row. Here we have this expensive machinery, and there are three people that have a lot of power on this decision. So this indicates that we need to put some extra measures over here. Then we do the vertical analysis, and the vertical analysis tells us something about the influence that a specific individual has. Here we have the delegated project sponsor, Mr. Jabberwocky. He has, in a number of items that we have put in the rows of our table, he has a lot of influence. So we need to take care that we have a good relationship with this delegated project sponsor. Something that can be said that about the relationship with the project sponsor too, because he has a lot of power also. For all interested parties, you need to analyze their influence, and you need to analyze if there are any conflicting interests in the stakeholders that are involved in your project. Now that we know the influence the interested parties have, we need to determine the probability that they will actually interfere in the project. And this has everything to do with what's at stake for them. So what we will do is we will add an extra dimension to this stake versus influence grid, where we plot a low stake, medium stake, or a high stake. And then, depending upon where we plot the people, we can develop 3 or 4 general ways of communicating with them. First, we have highly involved them. So when there is high stake and high influence, then you need to be very carefully with this specific stakeholder, because there is a high probability that he will interfere, because there is a lot at stake. And so we go from high involvement to actively consulting to maintain the interest of this interested party and to inform them. These things are written down in a stakeholder plan or a communication plan.